What is going on? Welcome to another episode of It's Nothing Personal, Just Buffalo. I'm your host, JTM. Got my co-host in the building with me, James Mallory. Mal, man, we are actually we ain't that far away, man. We like right here for the
Yes,
NFL season.
for sure.
5 days away. Four if you want to count. Don't want to count Sunday, but man, it's upon us. Everything that the Bills did the week off season, the draft, training camp, everything we talked about from the end of last year. Although we didn't talk much, this obviously we took a break. It's culminating to this moment now, and tonight we got a really good show lined up for you. We're going to talk about the heat that's possibly on Sean McDermott with Terry Pagula. I think that's something obviously until the Bills hit that Super Bowl, get there or win that, it's probably be something that we're going to talk about every year
Yep.
with McDermott being here, just because it is what it is. It's just something that people want to bring up.
Yes.
We'll give our thoughts back. We want to talk about the receiver, specifically the receiver and the tight end in the room. Obviously, that was a hot topic going into the offseason. Became even more of a hot topic after the Bills jettisoned Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans. So we'll talk about that tonight and expectation for those guys in those two rooms, the pass catchers, Josh Allen's pass catcher, you want to call it that.
Yep.
We're also going to talk about Josh Allen being the leader of the Buffalo Bills now.
Yes.
I think that's something that Josh Allen, we know his teammates run through a wall for him, and it's been that way for years. But tonight we're going to talk about just his leadership in general, and then what to expect from him. And I think, James, you could really touch on that coming from an NFL locker room standpoint. And then obviously we'll end the show with the expectations for week one for the Cardinals. So let's hop into it, man. Let's hop right into Sean McDermott's tenure in Buffalo heading here into 2024, and just obviously possibly the heat that may be on him, or I could also say the heat or the heat that will not be on him, placed on him by owner Terry Pagula. And obviously, this is something that we've been talking about probably since midway through last season. I think your exact words was last year, it's preposterous to even think about this. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm obviously going to get your thoughts on where you're at with that now. And I actually got some interesting takes on the topic too, just with this current roster that the Bills have in a turnover. I think that's something we got to look into. But I'll let you get going, man. The heat or the heat that shouldn't be on Bills head coach Sean McDermott heading into the 24 season by owner Terry Pagula. What are your thoughts here?
Well, my thoughts, JT, and feel free to chime in whenever in regards to just my opinion on this. I don't think he should be on the hot seat, and I don't think he is on the hot seat. I think he has a really good grip on the locker room. I think the Pagulas know that, especially with them owning the Sabres, right? And what's going on with them, and finding a head coach is not easy, right? A good head coach is not easy. We have that here in Buffalo, right? Me personally, no matter what the season turns out like, I don't think McDermott should be gone. That's just me personally. It's from a 1 to 5, I'll say maybe it's a 2, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's a stretch, right? The only way I think he would lose his job is if he loses the locker room, and I don't think that will happen. Because of the leadership that we have on the team, I just don't think that he'll lose the locker room because of the respect that everyone has for him. So I think it's probably a 2. It's a sense of urgency, but I don't think it's directly tied to his job security.
Okay.
What you think?
And that's a 1 out of 10, right?
I say 1 out of 5. So
1 out of 5.
1 out of
Okay,
10.
we go 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
Go 1 out. If you got a 1 out of 10, what you got?
Maybe a 4.
Okay, so I'm with you. I was actually going to say a 4 with 1 out of 10. So this is the thing about Sean McDermott's tenure here. Obviously, this is a guy that we talked about a little bit about last week. A guy who's won 64% of his games here in Buffalo.
Yes.
The only thing that he's truly failed at is challenges. You got to get better at that challenge flag. He's 10 out of 33 on that. But outside that, it hasn't been a failure. Okay, we do know what he inherited here in Buffalo. I'm not going to say it was a complete, excuse my language, it was not a complete shit show that he inherited. Let's just be honest about it. There was a pretty good roster that him and Brandon Bean and walked into. Maybe not the roster that they wanted, but a lot of good assets have offset in the past to be able to move around there. Okay. So I will say this about Sean McDermott. I think that the pressure, it's not going to come from Terry Pagula. It's going to come from the media trying to pressure Terry Pagula to make a change. Why? Because they get paid to do a job. They get paid to report headlines. But when they don't have headlines to report, they create them.
Yes.
And I think that this has been a narrative that has been created by multiple people. And honestly, now that the Bills are mainstream and in-your-face television, it's mainstream headlines. It's the big marketing company. It's your ESPNs. It's your FS1s. This is when they're talking about it. It's not just talking about it on a 11:30 show on the public access channel in Buffalo no more. It's mainstream. Absolutely. So I think if anything, that the pressure is going to be put on from the media standpoint. That's where I think it's going to come from. So at the end of the day, with this current roster, I will say this. The Bills are where they're supposed to be with this roster. Okay? You are always going to get to this point where there was going to be no Jordan Poyer, no Micah Hyde, I wouldn't say Tre'Davious White. We thought he'd be here longer than that. But you knew that your leaders would be gone. Okay? Yes. So I would say, in my opinion, no matter what happens this season, this should kind of be a mulligan. And I'll just be completely honest with you, and hopefully this team shocks me this year. Yes. I do not think that this particular Buffalo Bills team is a Super Bowl contending team. It could be. It very well could be.
I beg to differ. And we'll get into that, but I look at it a little bit differently.
Right. I mean, it could be. I just don't think it's a Super Bowl contending team this year. I think that there's a lot of turnover. And the players that we're replacing, these guys are borderline Hall of Famers. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, those are not guys who are easily replaced. Okay? And then you throw in Tre'Davious White. Now, mind you, that's a guy that we have not had in multiple years, but still, a lot of turnover there. So my opinion on the Heat turn on, it's media driven. I think that there is a lot of restless Bills fans that want to see that Super Bowl ring and want to see the team at least get a Super Bowl that I'd say not making a very good judgment call here when calling for this guy's head. Yeah. Considering all he's given this franchise and all he's done for this city as well. But it is what it is. What do you think about the roster heading into the season that he has? Like, compared to his other rosters, I guess.
You know what? I don't mind the roster because eventually we had to get younger.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the roster, I don't think it hurts some. It hurts some name-wise. I don't think it hurts some production-wise, as a lot of people think. Let's be real here. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, at times, they were a liability in regards to just straight-out ability. They will be in the right place almost all the time. But being able to make the play is a different story because physically they changed, right?
Right.
It's fair. They changed. So what I think people are looking at is the name, right? Just say we got Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer back there. I don't know if we're better. I can't say that.
That's valid
if
point,
they're back there right now, if we say, all right, I don't think that changes the team. I don't think that makes us better, right? I think it's a more safety feeling. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But it's the more you feel safer with those two back there than as opposed to right now it's the unknown, right? You're making a judgment based off of the unknown, right? We are. Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing right now. And for us being able to get younger and not just be a terrible team, I don't think we're going to be a terrible team. I think that's a win, right? Because no matter what happens next year or this year, we're coming back next year with a young safety room who has experience now.
True.
We have corners who have experience linebacker, experience all over, right? and still relatively young. Um, so I'm cool with it. I'm totally because we had to get younger. And my fear 2 or 3 seasons ago was I knew we had to get younger. As too many people at 30, 31, in the 30s, right? The wrong side of 30. And I knew we had to get younger. I'm like, damn, I hope we don't gotta be bad when we get young, right? And we got younger without being bad, right? We got some weapons, we got some people. We have anytime you have a good offensive and defensive line, you always have a chance. No, I don't care what nobody say. If you're good in the trenches, you always got a chance. Every Sunday, you have a chance to win. So I think that we are good in the trenches on both sides, right? And I think that's going to give us a chance. Now, if those safeties come out and ball higher than the expectations, all that change, right? Some of these receivers grow up, we're not having this conversation. And we'll get into more of it later. I don't want to get too far ahead of us, but I'm fine with the way the roster's built. Put the weight on some of these young guys' shoulders. Let them perform.
Well, and when I speak about the roster, I'm more or less saying, because I agree with you about the roster being the unknown. This roster, in my opinion, I think this roster could be anywhere from 8-9 to 11-6. Okay, I think that's your barometer. I think that's your playing field here. The schedule that they have is not easy, and I think a lot of the record prediction I'm having that little area, that gray area, is we don't know what's going to come out of the AFC East. Okay. We don't know. I mean, we assume that New England is going to be bad this year, okay? We don't know what the Jets going to be, but they have Aaron Rodgers. I tend to like to give Aaron Rodgers the benefit of the doubt to at least win 10 games there. Yeah. And I think Miami is, right at this point in time, maybe the strongest team in the AFC East. And I'm just being honest. I don't know what Buffalo's going to give you here. But my point about Sean McDermott is this roster has a lot of turnover. You have a lot of young guys that are playing. Yep. A lot of young guys have to step in on both sides of the ball. It's not just one side of the football. It's both sides. You have unknowns at receiver. You have you have a young tight end that you're going to depend on the Kincaid. You got a third-year running back, okay? We have no idea what we're going to get from the safety position. And to be honest with you, you have a young linebacking core without Matt Milano playing for at least the first half of the season, possibly. So my point is, the heat shouldn't be on Sean McDermott. If there's any year that there should be a mulligan, it's probably this one. In all fairness, okay? There's not too many coaches around the league that has had the success that Sean McDermott has had over the last 6-7 years. I'm just being realistic.
Not many. Put it like this: I don't know if I can name 5 head coaches better than him.
Right.
Period. And I keep going back to that. If you want to, people start that fire McDermott, right? Who do you replace him with? I know what you'll say. You've been saying before. The only person you would.
It's only one that I could. It'd be Bill Belichick. That's the only one that I could realistically say that's who it would be because of the duties of Sean McDermott. He's not just the head coach, and I keep saying that week after week.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, anytime you have a coaching change, you're gonna have a roster reconstruction as well because they're gonna get a team that fits them, right? This team fits McDermott and McDermott culture. Soon as you get another head coach, and whoever, no matter who it will be, all that changes. You'll see a lot of people that you love gone, right? You may see a Deion Dawkins gone. You may see, whatever the case may be. He may not fit the Belichick way, just so to say. Like it'll be a lot of change. So before people jump to, those decisions, you got to realize there's a lot that comes with a coaching change, and be careful what you wish for. I think McDermott should be here for a long, long time.
I just, like I said, I don't like to compare him to Andy Reid because to me it's a lazy comparison. We know he's from the Andy Reid tree technically, and I just get tired of the comparison. But in this case, I do feel like Andy Reid broke through at some point. And obviously that point is right now, and it wasn't with the Eagles. But at the same time, it took the Eagles a little while to get right after Andy Reid. Okay? They didn't hit that Super Bowl pay dirt to some years after he was gone. Let's just be honest about it. You're talking about a couple years, really. I feel like Sean McDermott is that type. He's going to eventually get it. And I already see a lot of changes in his philosophies from his first 5-6 years here in Buffalo.
100%. And I think he's the type of guy, once he get it once, it's going to be rolling there. It's
Exactly.
going to get rolling there. And that's, man, Bills fans would be sick if he do that somewhere else. Sick.
Yeah.
Now, you think Philly fans will take Andy Reid back?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Listen, not for nothing, there's 32 fan bases that will take Andy Reid, including Buffalo. And I'm not saying that we should replace Sean McDermott and Andy Reid, but if you didn't have Sean McDermott, I'm pretty sure this fan base would be A-okay with taking on Andy Reid if they had to. Just saying.
Yes.
Okay? But this is a guy that was fired and jettisoned out of Philly because he couldn't get the job done.
Yep.
Well, hell, there's only one coach a year that can get the job done. And there's 31 others who cannot.
Yes.
So, no. So, I mean, I'll leave it the topic on this, and I'll take a question. Cody Wells had a question over there about Lewis, the signing of Lewis Sign, the former first-round pick from the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know if Pagula's going to listen to the media. I don't think he should. I don't personally think he would. I think this is a guy who came in, he turned your franchise around, and he has made you a lot of money. I told you last year, Pat Freeman did a stat last year, and I think it was something about Sean McDermott had made Pagula in excess of $800 million while being here. And I think Kyle Yeager made a point in the chat just now about he don't think they do it. They were $40 million cap with a little draft capital, aging vets. As well as he can see the job being very attractive to a coaching candidate, but I don't think the Pagulas will open a new stadium with a new coach. And I think he's 100% right on that. And but
unless
you said
it's a shiny coach that's appealing.
And I was about to say, you just said on the phone the other day that it would, if it ever happened, they going big fish.
Gotcha.
Hunting.
You got to.
Yeah.
100%. You going big game hunting.
Big game hunting.
You can, honestly, with this job, you can get anybody you want.
All right. Anthony Farrell says, who's the better coach they could realistically get? Like I said, there's only one in my opinion. I've been saying before, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is the only one that could come in here and do a similar job to McDermott. What I mean by it is not just X's and O's. I'm talking about running the franchise and directing the franchise. He does a lot more than people give him credit for.
And one thing people fail to realize, if you do make a move with him, you're not going to have Belichick long. He's 74 years old.
Top 3 years. So
you know what I mean? So people quit making emotional decisions. McDermott is the guy. Period. For me, he's that guy.
Right.
He's shown it.
So Cody Wells says the amount of talent that come here to Buffalo showing interest in McDermott has taken. Helm says it all. Only time top talent has come prior was a large paycheck. Yeah, I mean you can go back through the years. Mark Anderson, Derek Dockery, just to name a few of guys who took huge paydays just to come here. Paydays that more than they even deserved, but that's what they took. So
he's trying to give me nightmares.
I'm just reminding people of the past. Okay. I want to move on, though. Moving on. Josh Allen. Obviously, we know the owner, Terry Pagula, Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, collectively felt that 2024 was the proper time for Josh Allen to become the unquestioned leader of the Buffalo Bills football team. Now, obviously, I'm going to get your take on this a lot because you've been around this game. You've been in these locker rooms. You understand from the player's perspective of being the leader of the team. And obviously you were in the locker room with Josh Freeman when he was first drafted. Okay? So, some people will say, well, it's about time. Josh should be the leader. Some people will say, well, why he wasn't the leader a couple years ago? This is what year is this for Josh? Year 7? Year 8?
Yeah, year 7 or 8.
You're 7 or 8, right? Okay. So, James, is it right on time or is it late? Allen now becoming the leader of the Buffalo Bills.
To be determined.
Okay.
I think it was very hard for him to really be that leader, and it was easy for him to defer when you got Mitch Morse, right? And so think about it. You got Mitch Morse in the locker room. You got a person like Diggs in the locker room. You got a Deion Dawkins in the locker room, right? Then you go Von Miller. You go Jordan Poyer and Michael Hyatt. He didn't even really even have to. They didn't have to rely on him to be the leader. Right. There was so many other voices, right? So I think now is like as we're talking about it, is a good time because it's like we need to find out what you got. Like if not now, dude, you 28 years old. Like, what we gonna wait till you 35? I
Mm.
mean, now you got to do it. Hey, you the guy because eventually you're gonna ask for more money.
It's coming
You're going to
soon
be
too.
yep, you're gonna be the guy here. He won the Super Bowl this year. He's gonna set a record. They're gonna have to pay him right after the season.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we paying you. You the guy. You one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, top three in my opinion. Um, why aren't you? You're our leader. Let's go. Lead the way.
Okay. I'd say this. Okay. I think for me, I'd say it's probably about. I say maybe 2 years too late. I mean, I think it's fine. I don't think the timing is that far off. But I think we wanted to see this transition from High and Poyer environment 2 years ago. I do think that possibly if he was that unquestioned leader 2 years ago, maybe some of these games would end up differently. Obviously, not the Chiefs 13 seconds. You can't do anything about that. That dude played his ass off. Okay, that was one of the best quarterback games we have ever seen in our lifetime. So I'm not talking about that one specifically. I think that when it comes to Josh and maturity, he may be a little bit of a late bloomer. And what I mean by that is, if you ever met him, he's one of the guys.
Yeah.
He's one. If you watch his demeanor, if you watch how he carried himself, he doesn't carry himself like a quarterback of old. Now, mind you, I will say this: I did not like the way the quarterbacks of old carried themselves. That would never translate into today's game. The way that Kelly or some of these guys carried themselves of being like up here and the rest of the camera up here and other guys are here because I'm the quarterback. That wouldn't fly in 2024.
No.
This guy ain't gonna block for you. This guy's not gonna run hard for you, and this guy's damn sure not gonna listen to anything you gotta say. It's just a different culture now. Okay. So I think that as far as leadership goes, we needed to see him take this step because in some of those playoff games, we needed him to get in somebody's face and say, I need you to run this route properly.
Absolutely.
I can't have you miss that block. I need you to get to that hole faster. And I think some of those games, those were the differences between us taking those wins, those losses, maybe converting that 3rd and 5 or not converting that 3rd and 5.
Yep.
As I want to call it, the Tom Brady effect. How do I want to word it? The fear of letting down your franchise quarterback.
Yes.
Or disappointing your franchise quarterback. I think that we wanted to see this like 2 years ago, but it's fine. He's 28 years old.
Yeah, 28.
We could easily have Josh for another 8 years. Okay? It's a little late for me.
The way quarterback's playing now, we talking 10.
The way Josh plays, I'm going to say 7 possibly if he don't slow down. I'm just Josh does not play like the other quarterbacks, okay? But that's just my thing. I think that we wanted to see it 2 years ago. It's fine. I think Pagula's making the right move. I think McDermott's making the right move. And also just to tie this into our first topic tonight about McDermott seat being a little bit warm, possibly hot, whatever you want to take it as. Could this be Pagula saying, in case I have to make a change, I need you to be a leader now. Because if we have to make that move, I got to have you ready.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's something to think about because we're not talking, right now, we're not talking friendships. We're not talking about, bonds. We're talking about business.
Yes.
And business-wise, I'm paying you $268 million, $58 million, whatever it is. If I have to bring a new regime in here, and I'm not, knock on wood, don't want to see that happen. Okay? I need you to be ready. Because they're telling, if I make this move, I don't know who I'm getting. Maybe the coaches I'm interested in may not come here.
Yeah.
Maybe Brandon Beane says, I'm out of here too. You got to lead this team.
Yeah.
Just saying, be honest with you. Not for nothing. Speaking on it, Sean McDermott wore a bulletproof vest, and he took a lot of bullets for this team's failures when it wasn't necessarily on him. Every coach ain't going to do that. Brandon Beane took a lot of bullets with a bulletproof vest on for a lot of his team failure. Every GM ain't going to do that. There's some GM, there's some coaches that'll call your ass out, throw you right in the bus at that podium.
You're right.
Just being honest about it. So I think it's a little late, but it's not too late. It's not epically late. It's not like, oh, we should have been doing this years ago. It's not that bad. But I do think like we're probably like a year or two too late, especially when you see what Joe Burrow and some of these other guys being unquestioned leaders. But I think you said something the other day where we're talking about the quarterback doesn't have to be the leader anymore.
Nah, I don't think so. Because the way that the game is made now, right? You got so many other guys that can be the leader, right? Long as your quarterback doesn't turn the football. Honestly, as long as your quarterback doesn't turn the football over, you don't need him to be a leader. You really don't. I think that's kind of fluffed up in a way. Long as that guy shows up and ball, technically ain't got to be the leader, in my opinion, right? Would you say Purdy is the leader of San Fran? Absolutely not.
No
right?
chance in hell.
They were in the Super Bowl last year, right?
Right.
So you kind of look at these things. It's like, do you really have to be a leader? Even Jalen Hurts, he's in the Super Bowl the year before. He's not the leader of that team, right? So I just don't think. I think it's overhyped a little bit, but I think this is going to tell a lot about Josh this year. If Josh is that guy, we're gonna be all right. If he, we gonna see. We gonna see.
You know what? I actually want to go back. Doug, our man Doug had a couple of questions. I just want to go back to the last topic real quick before we move on because he actually had a couple of good questions I think that we should answer now before going back. So Doug asked, has Pagula been a hands-on owner? Haven't seen much of him in around the team. Thank you for asking that question because it further validates my point about the job that Sean McDermott does in his duties. The answer, Doug, is no. He has not. He has let this. Obviously, we know what happened with Kim, and the whole family kind of stepped away. I'm pretty sure he's been involved with a lot of things, but hands-on, no. And the franchise has run smoothly. Why? Because of Sean McDermott, who's pretty much acting as your team president. So he hasn't. Thank you for asking that question because when we say you can't just bring anybody in here about X and O's, it's not about X's and O's. You have to take his job duties. And his job duties are partially that of a team president. James, agreed?
Yes, I agree. You've been saying it for a while. JT. He's basically the team president. You're 100% right, man. I got nothing else to add to it. What's understood don't need to be explained, man. You're right.
Yeah. And then Doug also asked, do you think today's players can relate to an old school coach like Belichick should that ever happen? I'll let you answer that. Do you think?
What I'm going to say is I won't say today's players. I'll say this locker room. I don't know. Because if you look at, the music and the dancing they do, having fun, right? Music at the practice they do, certain things they do, it would change if you had Belichick. It would. So today's players, it depends who you are. It depends on the type of locker room you got. You have to build that culture. You have to build that locker room that will relate to Belichick, period. You got to build it.
So I'd say this. Now, I don't know about other places he'd go because we've seen in the past people like Reggie Wayne, people like Chad Johnson who won over the course of their careers go to New England like, I can't play here. I can't do this. This is not fun for me. And a part of this league now is these players enjoying themselves. Deion used to say, you play good, you look good.
You got to have fun playing football, man. If you're not having fun, man, you're going to burn out. It's not going to be good.
Right. So I'll answer your question this way, Doug. I don't know about other teams, but this particular locker room, I think that they would. And the reason I think that is because this team has been so close. And a lot of these guys got to think about it. 3 or 4 years out of line, their career's over.
Yeah.
That window's closing real quick for some of these guys. And ain't many of these guys left on this team, and they've seen guys like Mike Hyde and Joe Poyer leave before them and come this close, but leave with nothing. You didn't get the ring. I think this particular locker room would, just because they know how to lock in. And they know when to lock in.
Yep.
I don't know about the other teams. Like, if you send him to Philly, something like that, I don't know. It's a good question. But my thing is this: with a year off, can Bill Belichick relate to the players of today? I think that's another question. But we ain't gonna get into all that. We on the McDermott team, so we're not even gonna speak this in existence. Just answer the question. But moving on, I want to talk about the expectations from the receiver and tight end room. Obviously, no Stephon Diggs. No Gabe Davis. Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox at $14.5 million, I'd say. Curtis Samuel, newly acquired. Mac Hollins, Keon Coleman. This is going to be a big question all year of what our expectations are from this room and what can they do. Now, personally, I think that Kincaid's going to lead this room this year.
Yes.
I think that's why you drafted him last year. You knew this time was coming. I think that the Bills would have preferred to tag team him up with Stephon Diggs. Obviously, that didn't happen. So he's tagged him with Khalil Shakir, a guy who, when he's had his chances, has proven to make big plays time and time again. But there's a difference between making big plays and time again and consistently making big plays in 17 games.
Absolutely.
So, James, I'm going to come to you. What do you think? What are your expectations from this receiver and tight end room, man?
Oof, man, this
Another
is
unknown. Another unknown.
Yeah, this is a question mark for me. I just hope Bills fans don't put unrealistic expectations on Keon Coleman. That's number one.
Okay.
I'm hoping they don't. Let him develop how he's going to develop. He's going to be a very good player in this league. Don't think he's going to come out and be a 1,000-yard receiver right off top. Could he? Potentially, yes. Will he be? We don't know. Don't put that on that man, right? So, as we kind of get into the season, I don't want to talk. The second person I'm talking to after Kincaid is Dawson Knox. This dude making all that money. You got to produce, dog. I don't want to hear nothing. Before we even talk about the receiving room, you got to produce. You're getting $14 million, man. You're not about to be a glorified offensive tackle for $14 million. So you need to produce, Dawson Knox. You need to produce. Now we can talk receiving room. We could talk about
Fair.
We could talk about Khalil Shakir. I think he's going to have a really good year. I think who really is the X factor of the whole room and is going to make everything else Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel is going to determine a lot. What he does is going to determine a ton. I still think some type of move is coming with the receiver room, but I think that it's going to be Curtis Samuel is going to get the thing on. I think it could be a really, really good receiving room. I think it could be one that's underrated. But we just got to see. We really got to see how this whole thing shakes out.
All right, listen. I'm just going to be completely honest about this, okay? I'm expecting nothing more from Dawson Knox than like 300 yards receiving, some touchdowns in the red zone, and to be a 2 tight end set to help run the football. I'm just going to be completely honest about this. I think that'll be something that a contract that the Bills will probably look to get out of following this season, regardless of how he plays. Because if he lives up to that contract, just to be honest with you, they would have never had to. And this is nothing against Dalton Kincaid. He's a hell of a talent. But I think the Bills would have thought differently of taking him if Dawson Knox was living up and playing up to that $14 million deal that we gave him. He hasn't. And I don't think he's going to. At least not here in Buffalo. But moving on. I think Kincaid is a guy that's going to be your mismatch nightmare. I think he's a guy, obviously, at the tight end position. A lot of times, it's a little bit harder to bracket tight ends than it is receivers, just because where they line up on the field.
Absolutely.
And following them, you know. I don't quite think he's going to get the Travis Kelce treatment yet. I don't think he's at that stage where you're going to put an extra cornerback in the game or extra safety in the game and then bracket with another cornerback or the safety. I don't think we're there yet. But I think Kincaid's going to be leading that room. If I had to give you some numbers, I'd say 90 receptions, maybe low under 1,100 yards, 6-7 touchdowns.
I think he'll start the season with 10 on Sunday.
Wouldn't shock me at all. Wouldn't shock me at all. I think he's a guy that's going. I think he's a guy that has to step up. I think he's going to be one of the guys that will step up. To be completely honest with you, Khalil Shakir. I think this is the most underrated receivers in the NFL at this point in time. I think he has so much ability, and you can move him around so much. You know who he reminds me a lot of? He reminds me of Tyler Lockett. I've been looking for
good comparison.
I've been looking for a comparison to him for the last couple of years, and I thought about it today, and I said, you know what? Who does he remind me of? It's Tyler Lockett. He reminds me a lot of Tyler Lockett.
Good one.
I think this is a guy that should have been on the football field since his rookie season. Yeah. I know we went on this show week after week after week asking, why is this guy not on the football field? And finally, he got his opportunities last year, and he showed that, hey, maybe I should have been on that football field my rookie season more.
Yep.
I think this is a guy who's going to have. I think he's going to have almost 1,000 yards. I
wouldn't be surprised. You think we have Kincaid and Shakira at 1,000?
It won't shock me, and the reason it wouldn't shock me because this is a redshirt year for Keon Coleman. There'll be flashes here and there, but I think that they're going to take it really slow with him. And I think once MVS is healthy, he's probably going to assume that spot that Mac Hollins is taking that third spot right now as the third starting receiver. Yep. If they thought Keon Coleman was ready, he would have took that spot right now. So I think the Bills are with you with the mindset of don't put so much pressure on him. Yep. Remember, this was the same regime that drafted Zay Jones and threw Zay Jones right in there. Now, whether his career trajectory would have been different if he would have been able to sit, I don't know. All I know is he's turned out to a solid receiver.
He was a high second-round pick?
Yeah. Very similar to Keon Coleman. So I think that they don't want to make the same mistake twice. I question Curtis Samuel's role in this offense. I told you, I said he's a hell of a talent. I'm not sure what his role is going to be. I mean, I think Joe Brady has.
He's going to be a Debo Samuel. That's all he's going to be.
Yeah,
he's going to be. Yeah, not all like it's minor, but that's his role.
But I don't think that's not going to eat into these guys' receiving yards too much. Like I think he's a guy that may have 500 yards receiving, but then he may also have 300 yards rushing.
Yeah,
I think he's a guy we can get 800 to 900 total yards from. It's a success then. Yeah. You know. But we have to check on the barometer of his health, too. This is a guy who has missed games.
Yes.
In the past. So that's something that we definitely got to check on. But, and Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins is a veteran. I think he's a filler. It is what it is. I mean, he's going to play hard. He's going to make some plays. But it's not a guy that I want to see on the field for, 40, 50% of offensive snaps during the game either. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. So...
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
I'm there with you. I think Curtis Samuel can be he could be a pain. Think about this. If you got a game plan for Curtis Samuel and Dalton Kincaid, that's a nightmare, man. That's a nightmare to game plan for defenses. Those two dudes are a mismatch just waiting to happen. It's a nightmare. So if those two work out, I think Curtis Samuel is the X factor. He's going to be the thing to put the glue to make everything come together. If he's what I think he could be, it's going to get real.
But I say this about the expectations of the room. This room is going to go as far as the Bills' running game takes it.
100%.
If the running game is not effective, and you put all the pressure on the receiving room, it ain't going to be a good thing. I'm being completely honest with you.
The running game, yeah. We got to run the ball efficiently.
If this team can't run the football and you put all the pressure on this receiving core, it ain't gonna be good.
Samuel equals the new
McKenzie
Like,
5.0.
never. That dude is so much better than him.
Well, that way, like you saying, 5.0.
Yeah, like I can't even put him in the same. I get it, but I can't even put him in the same.
Yeah.
Oh.
If I had to give a comparison for Curtis Samuel, I don't know.
Debo. He is Debo. He was Debo Samuel before Debo Samuel.
Yeah, true indeed. Not as physical as Debo.
Yeah.
Not as physical as Debo. Yeah, I give Debo. I was actually gonna say. I mean, it's a throwback. I was gonna say probably Eric Metcalf back in the day. Thought Eric Metcalf was a good one. If you want to go Buffalo, maybe Ronnie Harmon for Buffalo Bills fans back in the day. Ronnie, maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Roy Collins says, "How much would the turf toe affect Samuel, though?" Yeah, that's the biggest question.
Yeah. Turf toe is real.
I mean, honestly, it could affect him all year.
And sometimes turf toe affect people for years. So let's hope it's not that severe.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not. Definitely a guy. If we're missing him, this is going to hurt the offense severely.
Yeah, D-Dot saying the same thing you said. Not imposing, but definitely
yeah, you can use them. Yeah, you can call a lot of similar stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of similar things. Actually, to be honest with you, you probably can call more for Curtis Samuel than you call for Debo.
Probably a better route runner overall.
Oh, I think, hands down. Debo is not a good route runner.
Debo is just one of them dudes. You get him the ball in his hands, he's a problem.
Give him a drag and slants, man. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Let me throw this in there. You get to week 7, and you're 3-4, you're 4-3. Are you ringing the phones for someone like a Cortland Sutton, maybe a Devontae Adams? Are you calling somebody?
Yes, I am, because the season is over. As you see, the Bills have made strong pushes, and man, listen, the season ain't over.
Yes, yeah, 6-6.
Them dudes have came and fought back and did some things. So if that does happen, I'll say, yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm with you. I think that this receiver room is still. I still think Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are unsure on it. They just got to roll with it. You didn't have any cap space to fix it, and you use your draft pick as high as you can draft it to fix it.
I think they did damn good in the draft too.
I think they did. I was still in a boat with. I thought they should have took 2 rookie receivers.
Yeah, me too.
In this draft, I think we talked about that. I think that's the only thing they went wrong. I think that we should.
But you know, my opinion is, I think they're going high. I think they're going first and second round receiver again.
Wouldn't shock me.
No matter
I mean,
what,
now if Khalil Shakir shows out this year, and everybody performs everything, I think you can hold off on it. But I still think you still got to take another one.
I think they will, because if you go first round receiver next year, Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir, you got all 3 of them on a controlled contract. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, cap-wise,
I think that's the move. Because outside of them, I mean, Samuel ain't going to work. Curtis Samuel will be there, but if you can get them dudes, like, man, that can be dangerous.
Yeah. But we're gonna move on, man, to the last topic, and obviously a couple sleeps away to the Bills open up the season versus the Cardinals. Very interesting matchup here, man, for week 1. Very, very interesting matchup. We don't know what the hell our defense is going to look like. We don't know what the hell our offense is going to look like. We don't know what the hell the Cardinals defense is going to look like. We don't know what the hell the Cardinals offense is going to look like.
Yeah.
So very, very, very intriguing, interesting matchup here.
One thing I can say about the Cardinals, they've always played hard. Like, I've never watched a Cardinals game and they didn't play hard.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I think they're going to... So answering the question here, we're talking expectations for week 1 versus the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I think you talked me off the ledge. Not even off the ledge, but I thought this could potentially be a loss.
It still can be.
I think that the Bills don't perform well against teams like this. Now, if we were playing a Kansas City, a San Francisco, a really strong team, I'll have zero issues with it. The Bills going to show up. One thing about Josh Allen, nobody can ever say, that dude don't show up for big games. He shows up, man.
For big
that
games.
Dude shows up.
Right.
He shows up. And I think he's going to show up. Let's see what the supporting cast is going to do. I'm just. It's a tough one for me. It's gonna be a cold game too, so that's what's going to make me say the Bills are going to win, 24-16.
I like what my man just said in the chat too. AK Cash on YouTube says, every year we look at the schedule and like dub, then the week gets here and it's like we're like shit. That's the NFL team. Absolutely, 110%, 110% there. We do. And that's why James, I know you're might well coin the phrase, stop disrespecting NFL talent.
Don't do that. And people love to do that. Like these dudes, just some dudes you get off the street, like some random winos or something. Like these dudes are professionals. They're the best in the world at what they do. Like literally. So why you think they're just gonna come in here like, all right, it's the Bills, we gonna get whooped on? Nah, man, these dudes coming with it because they fighting for their jobs. They fighting for their jobs.
Listen, everybody's 0-0, man, right now. Everybody.
Yeah. They got high expectations too.
Nobody's season is even remotely close to being over yet.
Yeah.
Except probably the Patriots. But that's a different story for them day. But no, but being realistic here. I think that the Cardinals are a team that when you really look at them last year, right? When they got Kyler Murray back. And I'm not talking about the Cardinals before Kyler Murray, when they got him back. They averaged 25 points per game over the last 5. This is an offense that averaged 414 yards per game with Kyler Murray at quarterback. Okay? They were a different team. You add in Marvin Harrison. You add in a healthy John what's my man Collins? Not John Connor. Or James Conner. Okay? You add in a Marvin Harrison Jr. now, who they saying is ready for NFL talent right now this second. A Trey McBride, who people are really high on. Okay? This is not some team that you want to play with or that's going to come in and lay down. They're not going to.
Kyler Murray is the truth, man. I like Kyler Murray, man. I ain't gonna lie, I like him.
Hate Kyler Murray attitude, love Kyler Murray as a player. As a player, hell of a football player. Could be a top 10 talent in NFL when he wants to be. Just being honest about it. Attitude sucks.
Yes.
Okay, I think we all know that. I don't think it's rumored. I think it's well documented. His attitude absolutely sucks. But this is week 1. And maybe his attitude don't suck in week 1. You know what I mean? Maybe this is a big game for him to go into Buffalo. I'm like, I'm sick of these people talking about 17 over there. Nobody talks about me as a quarterback.
Yep.
That like I'm damaged goods. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, maybe he wants to come in and make a statement. Maybe Arizona wants to make a statement. Maybe Arizona wants to make a statement to the Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers and say, hey, we here too now.
Yeah. No, I got to say this. He said, it was an at cash. Murray scares the F out of me with his feet. No, for me, he doesn't, because when I think about it, Dorian Williams will be starting. One thing that dude can do is that dude can run.
He can chase him right down.
That dude can run.
Yeah, AK Cash says, I feel like McDermott will be ready, though, and play him like they play Lamar. You know what? It's funny he says, because I've always said on this show for the last couple of years, when you get the scrambling quarterbacks, the Bills are always seem more prepared for the scrambling quarterbacks than we are for the pocket passers.
Yeah.
When it's Lamar, when it's any of those guys, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, we're normally better prepared, it seems, for those guys in their legs than we are for the guys who's going to go back there and dink and dunk us all game. My man D-Dot says, I agree, JT. Ma already knows I can't stand dude.
Yeah, he is not a Kyler Murray.
I mean,
D-Dot is not a Kyler Murray fan at all.
But be honest, Kyler Murray, as a player, I would never disrespect him. He's a hell of a football player. But his attitude sucks. So, but moving to the defensive side, so when I went and looked at the defensive side, 2 pretty good safeties in Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson, unproven secondary, unproven linebacking core, unproven defensive line.
Budda Baker is that dude, man.
Yeah. A guy that, hey, listen, trade deadline comes, if we struggling, make that call. Ring, ring.
I can't argue with that.
Just saying, that's another name that could be available around trade deadline time. Just saying. Make the call, Brandon Beans. Just put it in notes. That's all. But just saying, No, I think that where the Bills will probably win this game, and I think my man said it up there earlier. Let me see who said it. I did see it. Someone said something about Roy Collins says he thinks James Cook run for 100 plus yards against the defense. That's where I think the Bills win this football game. Roy Collins hit it right on the nail on the head for me. Going back and looking, that's where I think the Bills can win this football game. It's not going to be an air raid show. It's not going to be the Buffalo Bills of 2021 or 2022. I think it's going to be the Bills that you saw in the last 8 games of last season. Ball control, protecting the football, running it effectively. Actually, the truth, it wouldn't shock me if you had 100 yards from Cook and another 50 or 60 yards from like a Ray Davis. I'm going to even go a step further. It wouldn't shock me to see that the Buffalo Bills run for over 230 yards as a team in this football game.
Okay.
Okay? And Josh Allen under 300 yards passing. Wouldn't shock me.
And they come out with a W, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. I wouldn't be mad.
No. I just think that there's a way that this team has to play, and I think that Joe Brady, and I said it last year, his philosophy is going to match up with what Sean McDermott wants to do. If you play football that way offensively, then guess what? Sean McDermott will be able to scheme these younger players up on defense. We'll go back to the original defense he brought in, the bend but don't break.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. What are your... Is there anybody you're keying in on this game?
DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah.
DeMar Hamlin.
Okay.
I'm going to be watching him closely.
Okay.
I am petrified of him being a starting safety for us. I wish Mike Edwards was healthy and he could have been the other guy. I would have felt a lot better. I'm just not a fan of him as a starting safety for us. I'm just not. We'll see what he does. I hope he goes out there and ball out and just crush the expectations. I do. Trust me, I do. We'll see.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'll just be honest with you. I mean, he's been in the system, he's been here, 4 years now?
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to know that spot better than anybody else. You've got to understudy Micah Hyde for 4 years. I'm with you though. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen here. You know, I think that they were looking for Cole Bishop possibly to take that spot, and then the injury happened with him.
Yep.
I personally thought when they brought Cole Bishop in, and they put them both at the free safety spot. Now let's just Taylor. Wait, is Taylor Rapp gonna be free or strong? I'm assuming strong,
good
right?
question. That's a good question.
Because he's interchangeable as well.
Yes.
Now, I'd say this. I feel a whole hell of a lot comfortable with DeMar Hamlin starting at strong safety than free.
I'm not comfortable with him starting either, bro. I ain't even gonna hold you. You know, JT, I ain't trying to hear none of that. I don't care. Free, strong. Man, I'm not hearing it. I'm not comfortable with it.
I'm not saying I'm comfortable with him starting, but I would prefer it be at strong than free. But the only problem is at strong, if in this defense, you take Taylor Rapp for what he's strong at.
Yeah.
By putting him at the free safety spot. And we saw him struggle at times in LA if you go back to that, especially with deep passes down the field at free safety.
I got a feeling it's gonna be a platoon. Like it's gonna be he's gonna be in the reps. They're gonna rotate him. I got a feeling.
Which there was a question earlier in the show that I said I was going to come back to, and I'm glad we actually talked about it. I totally forgot. My man Cody Wells, he thoughts on the sign. He's talking about Lewis Sign, who we just signed from the Vikings, the first round pick. Does he make his way an active game day roster eventually? Hell,
Absolutely.
He probably does.
Absolutely.
Unless these guys come out and play.
They didn't bring him here for no reason. He gonna play some games.
Yeah, the fact that they signed him this late, that we're still possibly bringing up Micah Hyde's name, that goes to show that they're just as unsure about the safety spot as we're talking about it right now.
Yes.
So, hell, I mean, I'll be honest with you. This safety room may be so unsure that, hell, they may call a 56-year-old Henry Jones to come play safety.
No, he didn't.
So, I'm being honest. Somebody call Henry Jones. Call Lori Beloit, Kurt Schultz. We have to call somebody. So, I don't know. No, in all seriousness, on the word concept, would you rather have Cam Lewis starting at safety? No. Nope. Cam Lewis is, for me, is just a utility guy. He can play a little bit of corner, can play a little bit of nickel, can play a little bit of safety. He's our special teams guy now. I think that's as far as it goes.
Yeah, he's the new what's his name?
Saran Hill.
Saran Hill.
Yeah.
I think eventually you're gonna have to put Cole Bishop on the field, and you're also
What's his injury status?
who?
Cole Bishop.
I think he should be good to go. Him and Mike Edwards, one of those two gonna merge, in my opinion. One of those two gonna come through.
Man said he'd rather have a 56-year-old Henry Jones than a freshly drafted Dante Whitner. Damn, shots fired.
Dante Whitner would have played better in this era because he would have been a hybrid. He'd have been an outside linebacker. They'd have moved him up.
Yeah.
They did like they did with Mark Barron.
Yeah.
And moved him up. And nowadays, so it'd be probably a different story for him now.
Well, actually, he'd fit as a replacement for Matt Milano right now.
He would.
Just saying. But that's funny, though. That's funny. Hittner, correctly. I think he changed his last name. Hittner. Man, I don't know. And it seems like, we've been messing with the safety position forever. But, yeah, man, I don't know. My expectations, honestly, is for the Bills to win this game. I think that another person that has to be on point in that game is Tyler Bass. I don't know how this red zone offense is gonna look. But I will say this: is he needs to have a very fast start to the season, because if not, them pitchforks will come out real quick. And like what you say about what happens on Tuesdays?
What you said? What happened?
What happens on Tuesdays?
Oh, cut.
Tryouts. He let him.
Yeah. They kicking the tires. The tires. Oh, they bringing a crew in to try out.
Kicking the tires Tuesday.
The Bills facility, they fly them in. It'll be packed with people working out on Tuesday. Then it comes out to the league. These people worked out for the Bills.
Listen here. Let him miss a kick. Miss one kick. And that's my guy. I like Tyler Bass. But I say it right now. Miss one kick on Sunday. I don't care if it's extra point. And if any of you people work at Buffalo Niagara Airport, you're going to see about 4 or 5 people coming out with big bags with footballs in them. They all go, and they're going to be flying in on Monday night. They're all going to be trying out Tuesday. As James said, kicking the tires Tuesday. Miss one kick. Just one. I dare you. So, who's the punter? Sam Martin? Sam Martin's the punter, right?
Yeah.
Won the job?
What happened to the rookie from San Diego State? We just cut him.
Which one?
The last one. The latest one.
Oh, the new one. Okay. Yeah, I think we let him go. We checked the background on him. We just let him go regularly. I'm messing around. I'm just joking. It's not right. Innocent until proven guilty. But
he proved to be innocent. Actually, I'm happy that he was.
Wait, did he? Is he still with the Chiefs?
Yes, he's their punter. So.
Damn.
But we on.
Yeah, I don't know expectations. I mean, we're not gonna go live again before the game, so I would say we could try, but it's not gonna happen. Score prediction.
24-16.
Okay. I'm gonna go 24-21 Buffalo. So,
Okay.
We'll go 24-21.
Well, we on.
We on. Hey man, we back. Season here, the wait is over. We talked about a little about everything. Thank you guys for joining in tonight. We may or may not go live on Sunday night. I think we're going to be able to pull Sunday nights off. I think we can pull them off. So we may see you Sunday night after the game. If so, it'll be a quick little 30-minute recap of the game, and then we'll still go live on Tuesday to break our topics down. And, yeah, on that, people, football's about to be back. Couple more sleeps. Thank y'all for tuning in. First real show of the season. Our preseason over. They preseason over. Let's get it. Any final thoughts, James?
Nope. Let's go Bills. Make sure y'all stay tuned. We may be back Sunday. You already know what it is on Tuesday nights moving forward. Don't sleep on it. Be on it.
I like that. Don't sleep on it. Be on it. Don't miss no kicks, Bass. Can be kicking the tires Tuesday. No pun intended on kicking. All right, man. Catch y'all later. Peace.